Bună ziua, dragii mei telespectatori! Bun veniți din nou pe canalul nostru, unde vă aducem cele mai fascinante și neașteptate povești din România și din întreaga lume. Numele meu este Mihai și astăzi vă voi povesti o întâmplare extraordinară, care vă va demonstra că uneori ceea ce pare o nebunie poate deveni cea mai inteligentă decizie din viața unui om. Ați fost vreodată judecați de vecini sau de prieteni pentru o decizie pe care o considerau ciudată sau inutilă? Ați avut vreodată intuiția că pregătirile pe care le faceți pentru viitor vor fi esențiale, chiar dacă toți din jur râd de dumneavoastră? Povestea de astăzi este despre un om din Transilvania care a trăit exact această experiență și care a demonstrat că viziunea pe termen lung poate salva vieți. Protagonistul nostru este Vasile Mureșan, un bărbat în vârstă de 58 de ani din satul Beliș, județul Cluj, care timp de 3 ani a fost consideratul nebunul satului, pentru că și-a petrecut toate economiile și tot timpul liber săpând un tunel subteran care părea să nu ducă nicăieri și să nu aibă nicio utilitate practică. Dar când a venit iarna cea mai grea din ultimii 50 de ani, toți acești vecini care râdeau de el au înțeles cu adevărat valoarea viziunii sale. Înainte să începem această poveste inspirațională, vă rog frumos să apăsați butonul de subscribe și să activați clopoțelul pentru notificări. Dacă această întâmplare incredibilă vă va emoționa așa cum m-a emoționat și pe mine, nu uitați să lăsați un like și să distribuiți videoclipul prietenilor voștri care cred în puterea perseverenței. În comentarii, vă rog să-mi spuneți din ce țară și din ce oraș ne urmăriți. Mi-ar plăcea foarte mult să știu cât de departe ajung aceste povești extraordinare și să simt această legătură specială pe care o avem împreună. Pregătiți-vă pentru o aventură care vă va arăta că, uneori, cei pe care îi considerăm diferiți sunt, de fapt, vizionarii care ne pot salva pe toți. Paragraful 1. Vasile și obsesia sa neînțeleasă. 1. Cuvinte. În primăvara anului 2020, în timpul pandemiei, când majoritatea oamenilor stăteau închiși în case și se plângeau de plictiseală, Vasile Mureșan a început cel mai ambițios proiect din viața sa. Locuia într-o casă modestă la marginea satului Beliș din Munții Apuseni, o zonă cunoscută pentru iernile aspre și pentru izolarea care apare când zăpezile blochează drumurile către civilizație. Vasile era un bărbat solid și muncitor, pensionar de la o întreprindere minieră din zonă, cu mâini puternice și o minte practică forjată de decenii de muncă în condiții dificile. Trăia singur după ce soția sa murise cu 5 ani în urmă, iar copiii săi locuiau în orașe mari și îl vizitau rar. Avea economii modeste, o pensie decentă și, cel mai important, mult timp liber pe care nu știa cum să-l folosească în mod constructiv. După ce am ieșit la pensie, povestește Vasile, am început să mă gândesc mult la iernile grele prin care am trecut în copilărie și tinerețe. Îmi amintirăm cum zăpada a blocat drumurile și cum rămâneam izolați săptămâni întregi, fără alimente și fără posibilitatea de a cere ajutor. Aveam sentimentul că o să se întâmple din nou și că trebuie să fiu pregătit. Ideea tunelului i-a venit într-o noapte când se uita la veștile despre calamități naturale din alte părți ale lumii. A văzut cum oamenii rămâneau blocați de avalanșe, de furtuni sau de inundații și cum mult suferință ar fi putut fi evitată dacă ar fi existat căi alternative de comunicare și transport. Locuia la aproximativ 1 kilometru de centrul satului și drumul dintre casa sa și magazine, farmacie și centrul medical era singurul mod de a ajunge la civilizație. Am început să-mi imaginez un tunel subteran care să conecteze casa mea cu centrul satului, explică Vasile. În mintea mea vedeam cum acest tunel ar putea salva vieți în situații de urgență, cum ar permite comunicarea chiar și când toate celelalte căi ar fi blocate. Pentru mine nu era o fantezie, ci o necesitate practică. Prima persoană căreia i-a vorbit despre acest plan a fost vecinul său, Gheorghe Popescu, un bărbat de aceeași vârstă care fusese prieten din copilărie. Reacția lui Gheorghe a fost de uimire și apoi de râs. Vasile, omule, ai înnebunit! Vrei să sapi un tunel de 1 kilometru cu mâinile tale? Asta e treaba pentru mașini mari și ingineri, nu pentru un pensionar de la mină. Dar Vasile avea o viziune clară și o determinare care nu se clătina în fața scepticismului. Și-a calculat cu atenție toate aspectele proiectului. Tunelul trebuia să aibă aproximativ 200 de metri lungime pentru a conecta casa sa cu subsolul casei de cultură din centrul satului. Trebuia să fie suficient de larg pentru a permite trecerea unei persoane cu un rucsac, să aibă sistem de ventilație naturală și să fie construit folosind resurse locale disponibile. În prima săptămână din martie 2020, Vasile a început să facă first calculations și să-și pregătească uneltele. Avea experiență în săparea galeriilor din timpul carierei sale mineriere, știa să lucreze cu diferite tipuri de sol și rocă și înțelegea principiile de bază ale construcției subterane. Cel mai important, avea răbdarea și disciplina forjate de decenii de muncă grea. Prima dificultate majoră a fost choosing punctul de început. După analize atente ale terenului, a decis să înceapă din subsolul casei sale, unde putea lucra în condiții private și unde putea depozita materialele excavate fără să atragă prea multă atenție. Planul era să sape în zigzag pentru a evita proprietățile vecine și pentru a urma conturul natural al terenului. Am început să lucrez în fiecare dimineață de la 6 până la 10, apoi din nou seara de la 5 până se făcea întuneric, povestește Vasile. Era fizica muncă grea, dar aveam un scop clar și energie pentru a merge mai departe. Fiecare metru săpat era un pas către realizarea viziunii mele. Instrumentele folosite erau simple but functional, lopeți de different dimensions, târnă coape, o roabă pentru transportat pământul excavat și lămpi de lucru alimentate de battery for lighting-ul galeriei. De asemenea, și-a amenajat un simple sistem de ventilație folosind țevi de PVC care duceau aer fresh din exterior. După 3 months de muncă intensă, Vasile avusese progres substanțial, approaching 50 de metri de galerie subterană care era solidă, bine ventilată și perfect funcțional pentru designated purpose. Dar în acest timp, rumori despre proiectul său se răspândisese prin tot satul și reactions de la vecini became increasingly negative. Oamenii au început să râdă de mine openly, își amintește Vasile. Mă întâlneam pe stradă și auzeam comentarii ca uite-l pe săpătorul de tuneluri sau și-a pierdut mintea bătrânul. Câțiva vecini au begun să facă glume că am discovery hidden treasure și că that's de ce săp atât de mult. Criticismul public și persistent mocking didn't deter Vasile. În fiecare zi, he continued să work pe proiectul său cu aceeași dedication și methodical approach. Știa că majority satul considered him to be wasting time și money pe ceva inutile, but trusted his own vision și experiență care suggested că preparations might prove essential în viitorul apropiat. During summer months de 2020, tunelul reached 200 de metri lungime și became increasingly sophisticated. Vasile had installed wooden supports in key areas, had created small storage chambers pentru emergency supplies. She had even established primitive communication system folosind batteried radios pentru testing connectivity între different points ale tunnelului. By beginning the autumn, entire community știa about Vasile's obsession cu digging, și most people considered it to be evidence că was becoming eccentric sau possibly senile in old age. Few offered to help, și many suggested că should abandon crazy project și focus pe more practical uses pentru time și energy. Ringer, paragraful 2. Critici și izolarea socială. 00 cuvinte. Pe măsură ce lunile treceau și proiectul lui Vasile lua amploare, reacțiile din comunitatea satului deveneau din ce în ce mai negative și mai vocal exprimate. Ceea ce începuse ca simple amusement și gentle teasing evolved into open ridicule și social ostracism, care afecta nearly every aspect de daily life in small community. Prima person care becomes openly critical a fost primarul satului, domnul Ion Călin, un bărbat autoritar în vârstă de 45 de ani care considera că eccentric behavior al lui Vasile reflected poorly pe entire community. During o întâlnire publică în June 2020, primarul mentioned proiectul ca exemplu de how some people waste resources pe foolish endeavors instead de contributing la community development. Am begun să receive unofficial visits din partea authorities, explică Vasile. Primarul and members din Consiliul Local au venit să mă întrebe about safety de tunelul meu, despre environmental impact și despre whether avea proper permits pentru such construction. Truth era că hadn't considered bureaucratic aspects, prosto știam că trebuia să fac acest tunnel. Criticismul oficial I encouraged other residents to become more voiced in their disapproval. Vecinul său cel mai appropriated, Gheorghe Popescu, care inițial fusese simply amused, now became genuinely concerned, and started to organize informal meetings cu altri neighbors pentru a discuss problema Vasile și possible methods pentru convincing him to stop digging. Problemul era că proiectul became visible throughout community, observes Maria Ionescu, o neighboră care lived approximately 100 de metri away din casa lui Vasile. Puteau să hear sounds de digging early in morning și in evening, putea să see trucks cu dirt being moved around property, she generally was obvious that something unusual was happening, made everyone uncomfortable. Social isolation intensified when local businesses began to treat Vasile differently. Shopkeepers in Centru Village would make comments about his crazy tunnel project when he came to buy supplies, saw food. Children would point and laugh when saw him pe street. She adults would avoid engaging in conversations beyond minimal courtesy exchanges. Am început să realize că oamenii mă vedeau ca pe somebody care wasn't mentally stable, recounts Vasile. When would go la store pentru cumpărături supplies for tunnel construction, proprietarul would ask pointed questions about whether really needed yet another shovel sau despre why kept cumpărând so many batteries pentru lamps. Era clear că everyone thought proiectul meu era sign de mental deterioration. Most painful aspect de social ostracism came din family members care lived in outer cities. Sons și daughter began to receive phone calls din neighbors și family friends in village, informându-i despre father's strange behavior și expressing concern about his mental health și financial management. Eldest son, Alexandru, a venit să mă viziteze în July și a tried to convince me to stop digging, recalls Vasile. He said că neighbors erau worried, că people in Cluj were talking about our family, și că was embarrassed to have colleagues ask about father's tunnel obsession. I suggested că maybe should seek medical evaluation sau psychological counseling. Pressured in family members was particularly difficult pentru că Vasile respected their opinions. She didn't want to cause them embarrassment sau concern. However, conviction că tunnelul was essential preparation for future emergencies remained strong enough to overcome social pressures. Local church became another source to criticism. Quando parish priest, Father Dumitru Moldovan, mentioned in several Sunday sermons importance de using God-given resources wisely și avoiding obsessive behaviors care distract in spiritual responsibilities. Though never mentioned Vasile by name, entire congregation understood references, she message became clear source the additional social pressure. Church community where had worshipped pentru decades begun to treat me differently, observes Vasile. People care had been friendly pentru years now avoided conversation după services, și several longtime friends stopped inviting me la social gatherings. Was clear că had become embarrassment pentru community. Economic aspects de project also became source to criticism când neighbors learned that Vasile was spending substantial portions de his modest pension pe tunnel construction. Spending money pe tools, materials pentru reinforcement, lighting equipment, și eventual safety features pentru tunnel was seen as irresponsible financial management for somebody living pe fixed income. Community members began to speculate că might be developing gambling addiction sau some other problem care was causing me to waste money pe useless project, explains Vasile. Several neighbors approached family members expressing concern că could end up in financial difficulty, she might need community assistance in future. Medical community in nearby town also became concerned when Vasile's family doctor learned about intensive physical labor Co was undertaking daily. Dr. Elena Popescu, no relation la neighbor Gheorghe, suggested că a man in his late 50s shouldn't be engaging in such strenuous activities without proper medical supervision. Și that obsessive focus pe single project might indicate psychological issues requiring professional attention. Doctor recommended că should reduce physical activity. She consider seeking psychological evaluation pentru what she termed obsessive-compulsive behaviors related la disaster preparedness, recounts Vasile. While understood their concerns, felt că nobody was considering possibility că preparations might actually prove necessary. By end the summer 2020, Vasile had become essentially isolated in normal social interactions and community. Most neighbors avoided conversation beyond basic politeness. Family members expressed ongoing concern and disapproval. Și community leaders viewed Project K embarrassment pentru village's reputation. Was lonely period, admits Vasile, but conviction că tunnel would prove essential remained stronger than discomfort de social isolation. Știam că history shows că often cei care prepare pentru emergencies sunt viewed ca eccentric până când emergencies actually occur. Despite social pressures și criticism, Vasile continued working pe tunnel cu aceeași dedication și methodical approach. By early autumn, had completed approximately 400 metri. The functional underground passage care was solidly constructed, properly ventilated și equipped cu basic lighting și communication systems. Difference between criticism și reality era că opponents to project hadn't considered engineering challenges that had overcome so practical functionality că had achieved, observes Vasile. While community saw only eccentric man digging holes, I știam că had created functional infrastructure care could serve essential purposes in emergency situations. Insertus paragraful 3, progresele tehnice și perfecționarea tunelului, 1:00 cuvinte. În timp ce comunitatea își continuă criticile, Vasile se concentra asupra aspectelor tehnice ale proiectului său cu o precizie și o pasiune care demonstra că nu era deloc nebunul pe care îl considerau vecinii. Experiența sa de decenii în industrie minieră se dovedea invaluabilă în rezolvarea challenge-urilor complexe de engineering care appeared pe măsură ce tunnelul advanced towards centrul satului. Prima major difficulty întâmpinată a fost when galeria reached stratul de rocă solidă la approximately 300 de metri din casa sa. Unlike soft soil, care could be excavated with simple tools, rocky terrain required more sophisticated approaches și specialized equipment. Vasile studied problema pentru several săptămâni înainte de developing innovative solution. Am realized că trebuia să use controlled small explosive charges pentru a break rock, dar couldn't obtain commercial explosives without proper licenses și community scrutiny, explică Vasile. So am developed technique folosind heated metal spikes și rapid cooling cu water pentru a create fractures în rock care then could be expanded cu wedges și removed cu traditional tools. Această metodă, deși labor-intensive, proved remarkably effective și allowed tunnel să continue advancing la steady pace de approximately 2 metri pe zi when conditions were favorable. Process also required developing better ventilation system pentru removing dust și ensuring adequate air circulation in increasingly longer underground passage. Pentru a improve ventilation, Vasile constructed ingenious system de shafts care connected tunnelul cu suprafață la various points, concealed among trees și natural features in landscape. These shafts provided fresh air circulation. She also served ca emergency exit points in case primary entrance became blocked. Ventilation system was particular source de pride pentru mine, observes Vasile. Used principles învățate in mine operations pentru a create natural airflow care maintained comfortable temperature și breathable atmosphere throughout tunnel length. System was so effective că could spend entire day working underground, fără experiencing fatigue sau respiratory discomfort. La 500 de metri progress, Vasile began installing more sophisticated infrastructure within tunnel, constructed small storage chambers pentru emergency supplies, installed battery-powered lighting systems at regular intervals, și created communication network care allowed coordination între different sections de tunnel. Cel mai impressive technological innovation was crude but functional rail system developed pentru efficient material transport, using recycled metal rails din abandoned mining operations și simple wheeled carts. Created system care allowed rapid movement the excavated materials out și construction supplies in. This dramatically increased construction efficiency și reduced physical strain the daily work. Rail system transformed construction process, explains Vasile. Previously, ogni load the excavated material had to be carried manually hundreds de metri către exit point. Cu rail system could move much larger quantities cu less effort și in less time, allowing focus pe actual excavation rather than material transport. Pentru a address structural stability in longer sections de tunnel, Vasile implemented comprehensive support system folosind locally sourced timber și recycled construction materials. Each section was carefully reinforced pentru a prevent collapse, și critical areas were provided cu additional bracing pentru a handle increased soil pressure. Quality de construction was actually superior la many professional mining operations had observed during career. Every aspect of the tunnel was planned și executed cu attention la detail reflected decades de experience in underground construction. Result was passage was not only functional, but also remarkably durable și safe pentru regular use. Engineering challenges forced me to become creative și să develop solutions hadn't used in professional mining work, notes Vasile. Home construction project provided freedom to experiment with different approaches și să implement ideas wouldn't have been approved in industrial setting. By autumn 2020, tunnel had advanced la 650 metri și was approaching halfway point către destination în centrul satului. At this stage, project began attracting attention din outside community, când several engineering students din nearby technical college learned about construction și requested opportunity să visit și examine work. Professor Inghi Traian Popescu din Universitatea Tehnică din Cluj-Napoca heard about project through unul din his students și decided to investigate personally. His evaluation provided first professional validation Vasile's work was not eccentric hobby, but rather legitimate engineering achievement. When examined tunnel structure, support systems și ventilation design, was surprised by quality de workmanship și sophistication de solutions had been implemented, reported Professor Popescu. This was not work the amateur enthusiast, but rather professional-level construction care reflected deep understanding the underground engineering principles. Professional validation encouraged Vasile to implement even more advanced features. Added rudimentary electrical system powered by battery banks could provide lighting pentru extended periods, installed storage pentru emergency medical supplies și food reserves, she created communication posts could be used pentru coordination in crisis situations. Most sophisticated addition was simple but effective alarm system, care could alert people in centrul satului dacă someone was using tunnel pentru emergency purposes. System used battery-powered sirens connected CU switches at various tunnel locations, allowing rapid notification to authorities sau community members that a tunnel was being utilized for rescue operations. By this point, tunnel wasn't just passage entre deux locations, observes Vasile. Had become comprehensive emergency infrastructure care could support multiple people pentru extended periods, she provide essential services during crisis situations. Local media begun to notice project când engineering professor published article about innovative construction techniques observed in village tunnel. Article attracted attention din other technical experts, she even some officials care begun to reconsider whether project might have legitimate practical applications. Media attention was mixed blessing, admits Vasile. On one hand, brought professional recognition work was technically sound și potentially valuable. Pe other hand, increased community scrutiny și pressures din authorities pentru proper documentation și official approval pentru project. Despite challenges, Vasile remained focused pe completing tunnel către centrul satului. Pe începutul winter 2020, had achieved approximately 800 metri de functional underground passage key, was fully equipped cu lighting, ventilation, communication systems și emergency supplies. Project was ahead the schedule și approaching point when could begin final phase către destination. Era clear că tunnel would be completed și functional well before any crisis situation arose, reflects Vasile. What wasn't clear was whether community would ever recognize value the preparations sau whether would continue să view project ca eccentric waste de time și resources până când circumstances proved otherwise. Butterers, paragraful 4, primul test al tunelului, 100 cuvinte. În iarna anului 2020-2021, Vasile a avut prima oportunitate să își testeze tunelul în condiții real de emergency, deși la o scală mult mai mică decât anticipated. În ianuarie, o furtună severă de gheață a acoperit regiunea cu un strat gros de gheață care a făcut drumurile complete inaccessible pentru vehicule obișnuite și dangerous pentru pedestrian travel. Furtuna a begun într-o marți evening și a continuat pentru 3 zile, covering entire area cu nearly 2 cm de gheață solid. Electricity lines have been damaged in multiple locations, leaving large portions the community fără power pentru heating sau communication. Most residents have been trapped in homes cu limited supplies și no reliable way să reach centrul satului pentru emergencies. Era exact tipul de situație pentru care mă pregătisem, recalls Vasile. While everyone else was trapped in homes cu no way to move safely, I had functional underground route către centrul satului, care wasn't affected by ice sau weather conditions above ground. Third day to storm, Vasile received desperate call din neighbora sa, Maria Ionescu, whose elderly mother had suffered medical emergency. She needed immediate access la medication, care was only available la pharmacy în centrul satului. Roads erau completely impassable, și emergency services couldn't reach isolated areas due la dangerous conditions. Maria came lay my house crying, explaining că mother needed specific heart medication care wasn't available in home stocks, recounts Vasile. Pharmacy was only source in zona, dar was impossible to reach through normal routes. I realized that this was perfect test de tunnel functionality pentru emergency purposes. Despite years de criticism și social isolation, Vasile immediately offered să use tunnelul pentru retrieving necessary medication. Maria was initially skeptical, had been among semi-vocal critics the project. She considered the entire tunnel was useless waste of resources. However, desperation overcome prejudice can realized that tunnel might be only viable option pentru saving mother's life. First time Maria ever entered tunnel was amazed by quality de construction și functionality the systems que had installed, observes Vasile. Suddenly realized that what community had dismissed a eccentric hobby was actually professional-level infrastructure care could serve essential purposes. Journey through tunnel la centru satului took approximately 45 minutes, compared cu nearly 2 ore that would have been required pentru circumventing dangerous ice-covered roads. Tunnel provided safe, dry passage care, maintained comfortable temperature, și allowed efficient travel in otherwise impossible conditions. At pharmacy, Vasile was able to purchase necessary medication. She returned la Maria's house within 2 ore the initial emergency call. Trip would have been impossible using conventional routes. She could have resulted in serious health consequences, sau even death pentru elderly woman dacă medication hadn't been available. Success the emergency mission transformed Maria's attitude towards tunnel, notes Vasile. Woman care had been among semi-harsh critics, suddenly became grateful supporter who realized that preparations weren't silly obsession, but rather life-saving infrastructure. News despre successful emergency use de tunnel spread rapidly throughout community, creating first positive attention the project had received since construction begun. Several neighbors care had been consistently critical, begun to reconsider their opinions. She so acknowledged that maybe Vasile's preparations hadn't been completely irrational. People began to realize that while weather conditions above ground were dangerous, she limiting tunnel provided reliable alternative care could be used, can normal routes weren't available, observes Maria Ionescu. For first time, project seemed to have practical value, care went beyond eccentric man's strange hobby. However, single success wasn't sufficient to overcome years the accumulated criticism she social isolation. While some neighbors become more respectful, majority the community still viewed tunnel k unusual undertaking, care might have occasional utility there wasn't worth extensive time she investment had been required. Local authorities also began to pay attention la tunnel after successful emergency use. Primarul Ion Călin și members de Consiliul Local visited să examine construction și să discuss whether project needed official recognition sau regulation. Their evaluation was mixed, impressed by construction quality, dar concerned about lack the proper permits și documentation. Official response was typical bureaucratic confusion, observes Vasile. Appreciated technical achievement, dar worried about regulatory compliance. Suggested că project might need formal inspection și approval process pentru continued operation, which seemed ridiculous pentru something that had proven its practical value. Media attention increased after emergency success, cu local newspaper publishing article about innovative solution pentru weather-related transportation problems. Article brought positive recognition pentru first time și attracted attention din other communities care begun să inquire about similar preparation strategies. Newspaper coverage was significant turning point, admits Vasile. For 3 years, had faced nothing but criticism și ridicule. Suddenly, people began to see project in different light și să acknowledge că preparations might actually be valuable pentru community safety. Professional engineering community also took notice after media coverage. Several technical experts din universities și construction companies visited to examine tunnel și să evaluate construction methods. Their assessments were consistently positive, praising innovative solutions și quality de workmanship. Professor Traian Popescu returned pentru more detailed examination și brought colleagues din other technical disciplines. Their collective evaluation concluded că tunnel represented significant achievement in individual engineering și provided model pentru community emergency preparedness that could be replicated in other locations. Professional validation was important pentru establishing credibility, notes Vasile. Community members' care had dismissed Project CA eccentric hobby couldn't easily ignore positive assessments din recognized technical experts. However, even after successful emergency use și professional recognition, majority the community remained skeptical about overall value to project. Most residents acknowledged că tunnel had proven useful in specific circumstances, dar still considered că extensive time și resource investment hadn't been justified pentru occasional utility. One successful mission doesn't prove că entire project was worthwhile, observed neighbor Gheorghe Popescu. While appreciate că helped Maria in emergency, still think că amount the effort și money spent wasn't reasonable pentru such limited practical applications. As winter progressed și ice conditions improved, tunnel usage returned la minimum levels și community attention shifted back la normal activities. However, first successful emergency mission had planted seed to recognition că maybe Vasile's preparations weren't completely without merit și că unusual projects sometimes prove to have unexpected value. Realized că community attitudes could change when circumstances demonstrated practical value, reflects Vasile. Challenge was că most people needed to see dramatic proof înainte de acknowledging că preparations were worthwhile. Single emergency mission was beginning, but knew că tunnel's true value would only be recognized când faced cu really serious crisis. Shaknaf, paragraful 5. Extinderea rețelei și noi convertiri. 1. Sărără cuvinte. După succesul mission de salvare din timpul furtunii de gheață, Vasile a decided să expanded tunnelul beyond original plan și să create o more comprehensive underground network care could serve multiple emergency purposes pentru întreaga community. Inspirat de positive feedback din engineering experts și encouraged by practical proof că system funcționă, begun să develop more ambitious vision pentru underground infrastructure. Prima expansion was să complete original route către centrul satului și să add additional branches care connected cu other essential locations, medical clinic, food store și communication center de emergency services. Plan was to create network care would allow coordinated emergency response even când surface travel was completely impossible. After successful emergency mission, realized că single tunnel route wasn't sufficient pentru comprehensive emergency preparedness, explains Vasile. Community-needed network care could support multiple people și provide access la all essential services, not just transportation între două points. Construction of the additional tunnels proceeded more rapidly than original project because Vasile now had refined techniques, improved equipment, și even some community support. Several neighbors care had been impressed by successful emergency use, offered to provide assistance cu excavation și material transport. Maria Ionescu became particularly enthusiastic supporter. She provided both labor și financial contributions towards expansion project. Her experience cu emergency medication mission had convinced her că tunnel network was valuable community asset care deserved broader support. After tunnel saved my mother's life, became committed supporter to project, explains Maria. Realized că Vasile's vision was much more comprehensive than I had understood și că community could benefit significantly din expanded underground network. Other converts included local doctor, Dr. Radu Ionescu, care recognized medical emergency applications pentru tunnel system. Professional medical training allowed him to appreciate strategic value pentru emergency access și patient transport when surface routes were compromised. As medical professional, could immediately see potential pentru tunnel network in emergency situations, observes Dr. Ionescu. Community had no backup transportation system pentru medical emergencies, și tunnel provided reliable alternative care could be life-saving in crisis situations. Local priest, Father Dumitru Moldovan, also become supporter after reflecting the theological implications de community preparedness și mutual aid. Previous criticism de project as obsessive behavior was replaced cu appreciation pentru neighborly service și practical charity că tunnel represented. Came to understand că tunnel project was expression de Christian values despre caring pentru neighbors și preparing to help in times de need, observes Father Moldovan. Rather than selfish obsession, project represented self-sacrifice pentru community benefit. By primăvară 2021, tunnel network had expanded la over 500 metri de functional underground passages, connecting multiple key locations in community. System included sophisticated infrastructure, battery-powered lighting throughout, ventilation shafts at regular intervals, emergency supply storage, și communication network, că allowed coordination între different access points. Most impressive addition was central chamber located approximately halfway între casa lui Vasile și centrul satului. This underground room could accommodate up la 20 people. She was equipped cu emergency supplies pentru extended stays, food, water, medical materials, communication equipment, și even basic sleeping facilities. Central chamber was designed to serve ca emergency command center, where community leaders could coordinate response la major crisis situations, explains Vasile. Could function independently pentru several days și provide safe environment pentru decision-making și resource distribution. News despre expanded tunnel network attracted attention din regional media și government emergency preparedness agencies. Representatives din County Emergency Management Office visited to evaluate system și to assess whether similar approaches might be valuable in other rural communities. Twing, Elena Popescu din County Emergency Management, was particularly impressed cu practical applications și cost-effectiveness de system compared cu conventional emergency infrastructure. This represents innovative approach pentru community emergency preparedness care achieves significant capability cu relatively modest investment, she reported. Regional attention led to visit din National Emergency Preparedness Experts, care documented system ca case study pentru rural community resilience. Tunnel network was featured in official publications ca example de Citizen Initiative către emergency preparedness, care could serve ca model pentru other communities. National recognition transformed how project was perceived locally, observes Vasile. Community members' care had been skeptical for years, suddenly begun to take pride in having innovative emergency system. Care was receiving attention din government experts. Professional engineering organizations also begun to recognize achievement, cu Tunnel Network being featured at technical conferences și in engineering publications. Innovative construction techniques și creative problem-solving approaches became subjects pentru academic study și professional discussion. Most significant validation came când Romanian Association de Civil Engineers awarded Vasile honorary recognition pentru outstanding achievement in community engineering by individual initiative. Award ceremony in Cluj-Napoca was attended by community leaders. She marked first formal recognition că project had broader significance beyond local utility. Engineering recognition was personally important pentru validating decades the experience și technical knowledge că had applied to project, reflects Vasile. But more significant was seeing community attitudes changed in criticism la pride and having nationally recognized emergency infrastructure. Practical applications pentru expanded network become evident during several minor emergencies in 2021. System was used pentru medical emergencies during severe weather, pentru coordinating community response la power outages și pentru maintaining communication când telephone systems failed. Each successful use further solidified community support și demonstrated practical value pentru expanded underground infrastructure. Residents' care had been critics, become users, și many begun to appreciate comprehensive nature the planning și execution că had gone într-un project. Community gradually realized că Tunnel Network wasn't just unusual hobby, but rather professional-level emergency infrastructure care provided real benefits pentru community safety și resilience, observes Maria Ionescu. Local government began to incorporate Tunnel Network in official emergency response plans și să provide modest financial support pentru maintenance și future expansions. System become recognized component the community emergency preparedness infrastructure, alongside conventional systems. By autumn 2021, Tunnel Network had evolved din individual project subject to a community ridicule into officially recognized emergency infrastructure care, was documented in regional emergency management plans și supported by local authorities. Success demonstrated că individual vision și determination could create valuable community assets even când facing initial skepticism și criticism. Transformation din Village Fool în recognized community asset developer showed că persistence și practical results eventually overcome social pressure și conventional thinking, reflects Vasile. But knew că real test the system's value was still to come in future when faced cu genuinely serious emergency situation. Pirinanons paragraful 6. Recunoașterea națională și noile provocări, maiind 00 cuvinte. În toamna anului 2021, povestea tunnelului lui Vasile a ajuns la atenție națională când televiziunea României a produce un documentary special about innovative emergency preparedness projects in rural communities. Programul, intitulat Vizionarii României, featured Tunnel Network ca prime example de citizen initiative care had created valuable infrastructure through individual determination și technical expertise. Documentary attracted widespread public attention și positioned Vasile ca national figure in emergency preparedness și rural community development. Interest came not only din technical și government communities, but also din general public, care was inspired by story the individual overcoming social criticism pentru a create something valuable pentru community. National television exposure was overwhelming experience, admits Vasile. Suddenly was receiving calls din reporters, invitations to speak at conferences, she visits din officials care wanted to see tunnel system personally. Was dramatic changed in years de being dismissed key village eccentric. Anna. One significant outcome, the national attention, was invitation din European Union Civil Protection și Humanitarian Aid Department să present tunnel project at International Conference on Rural Emergency Preparedness held in Brussels. Presentation was well received și led to formal recognition din EU officials despre innovative approach către community resilience. Speaking at international conference in Brussels was incredible honor, reflects Vasile. Never imagined că project begun in my basement would eventually be presented la European policymakers ca model pentru other communities to follow. European recognition opened opportunities pentru collaborative projects. Other communities across EU care were interested in developing similar underground emergency infrastructure. Several villages in Poland, Czech Republic și Hungary initiated contact despre implementing comparable systems adapted to their specific geographic și climatic conditions. Technical exchanges became regular feature of the project as international experts visited to study construction methods și evaluate potential pentru replication in other locations. These visits brought valuable feedback și suggestions pentru improvements care could enhance functionality și expand applications. International collaboration added dimensions la project că hadn't anticipated, observes Vasile. Learning about emergency preparedness challenges in other countries și sharing technical knowledge created sense că project had broader significance pentru rural community development generally. However, national recognition also brought new challenges și complications care hadn't existed when project was simply a local community initiative. Government bureaucracy began to require formal documentation, safety inspections, și regulatory compliance care created administrative burdens that were difficult to manage ca individual project developer. Most significant bureaucratic challenge came in National Workplace Safety Authority care, required comprehensive inspection the tunnel system pentru ensure compliance with official safety standards. Inspection process was extensive și resulted in requirement pentru several modifications la original construction pentru meet formal regulatory requirements. Bureaucratic requirements were frustrating because forced changes către system că had proven to be functional și safe through several years the actual use, notes Vasile. But understood că official recognition required compliance with formal standards, even when those standards weren't necessarily better than practical solutions that had developed. Financial aspects of the project also become more complex when national attention attracted interest in commercial entities that wanted to develop business relationships or licensing agreements pentru tunnel construction techniques. Managing these inquiries required legal assistance. She created complications that weren't anticipated when project was simply personal initiative. Media attention brought both positive recognition and unwanted scrutiny. While mainstream coverage was generally favorable, some critics questioned whether individual projects like Tunnel Network represented appropriate use to resources, saw whether community emergency preparedness should be handled entirely by official government agencies. Public debate about project raised philosophical questions despre balance entre individual initiative și government responsibility care I hadn't fully considered, reflects Vasile. While believed that community members should take responsibility pentru their own emergency preparedness, understood that critics had legitimate concerns about coordination with official emergency systems. Educational institutions also began to take interest in project ca teaching tool pentru engineering și community development programs. Several universities developed case studies based pe tunnel construction și requested access pentru bringing student groups să vizit și examine system în person, professor Ing. Traian Popescu din Cluj Technical University developed formal relationship cu project pentru using tunnel ca outdoor laboratory pentru civil engineering students. This provides unique opportunity pentru students to see how theoretical principles aplicat la real-world project cu practical constraints și creative problem-solving, he explains. Tourism aspects the national attention were unexpected but significant. Community began to receive visitors in other parts of Romania, și even international tourists care came specifically to see famous tunnel system și to meet individual who had created it. Tourism brought economic benefits pentru community care, helped offset some costs to project. She created positive associations pentru residents care had been initially skeptical, observes Maria Ionescu. Village care had been embarrassed by eccentric tunnel project was now proud to showcase nationally recognized emergency infrastructure. Regional government officials began to incorporate tunnel network and broader rural development initiatives și să propose similar projects pentru other communities in mountainous areas care faced comparable emergency preparedness challenges. Most meaningful recognition came in form of personal letters in individuals in other communities care had been inspired to undertake their own emergency preparedness projects after learning about tunnel system. These communications confirmed the project had broader inspirational impact beyond technical achievements. Letters din people care said the tunnel project had encouraged them to take responsibility pentru their own community. Preparedness were most rewarding aspect the national attention, reflects Vasile. Realized the value the project wasn't just local infrastructure, but also demonstration that individual initiative could achieve significant results. By sfârșitul 2021, tunnel project had evolved in local controversy in nationally recognized example. The citizen emergency preparedness care was studied by government agencies, featured in academic programs, și serving a model pentru international community development initiatives. Transformation din Village Laughingstock, a national exemplar, demonstrated that persistence și practical results could overcome any level the initial skepticism, observes Vasile. But also created new responsibilities pentru maintaining system și serving ca educational resource pentru others interested in similar projects. Despite complications, the national attention, core purpose the project remained unchanged, providing reliable emergency transportation și coordination capabilities pentru rural community care could face isolation during severe weather so other crisis situations. Success in achieving this goal was about to be tested in most dramatic way possible. Codrow, paragraful 7. Iarna apocaliptică și momentul adevărului. 1-0 cuvinte. În decembrie 2022, România s-a confruntat cu cea mai severă furtună de iarnă din ultimii 40 de ani. Meteorologii au avertizat că se apropie un sistem weather extrem de periculos care combină temperaturi arctice, vânturi puternice și cantități record de zăpadă într-un mod care putea crea conditions life-threatening pentru rural communities. Furtuna a begun pe 18 decembrie cu vânturi de peste 80 km/h și temperaturi care dropped rapid la minus 25 degrees Celsius. În primul day accumulated nearly 50 cm de zăpadă, dar that was only începutul unui weather event care would continue pentru aproape 2 săptămâni și would bring total accumulations de over 2 metri de zăpadă. În decembrie 2022, România s-a confruntat cu cea mai severă furtună de iarnă din ultimii 40 de ani. Meteorologii au avertizat că se apropie un sistem weather extrem de periculos care combina temperaturi arctice, vânturi puternice și cantități record de zăpadă într-un mod care putea crea condiții care amenințau viața pentru comunitățile rurale. Furtuna a început pe 18 decembrie cu vânturi de peste 80 km/h și temperaturi care au scăzut rapid la minus 25 de grade Celsius. În prima zi s-au acumulat aproape 50 de centimetri de zăpadă, dar aceasta era doar începutul unui eveniment meteorologic care avea să continue pentru aproape 2 săptămâni și avea să aducă acumulări totale de peste 2 metri de zăpadă. Când am văzut primele prognoze meteorologice, își amintește Vasile, am realizat imediat că aceasta era exact tipul de criză pentru care construisem tunelul. Pentru prima oară în 3 ani de la începerea proiectului, eram cu adevărat pregătit pentru o situație care putea fi chiar letală pentru comunitate. Prima zi de furtună a fost relativ manageable, cu majoritatea rezidenților rămânând în case și folosind stocurile normale de hrană și combustibil pentru încălzire. Dar până în a 3-a zi, conditions au devenit dramatic worse, când electrical power lines au begun să se rupă sub greutatea zăpezii acumulate și a winds extreme. Village a rămas completely fără electricity pe 21 decembrie, exactly în cea mai rece noapte a ierului, când temperaturile au dropped la minus 32 degrees Celsius. Without power pentru electric heating systems, many homes began to become uninhabitable, especially pentru elderly residents care didn't have adequate alternative heating methods. By third night this storm, reports Dr. Radu Ionescu, multiple residents dezvoltaseră symptoms de hypothermia și several elderly people erau in serious danger din cauza cold exposure. Normal evacuation routes către medical facilities in town erau completely impassable due la snow depths și dangerous wind conditions. Emergency services attempted to reach isolated community using snowplows și specialized winter vehicles, dar accumulation rate de snow era so rapid că roads became impassable again within hours după clearing. After 2 days the attempts, emergency authorities officially declared că community was cut off și că rescue operations were too dangerous pentru conventional approaches. Official emergency response couldn't reach us, observes local police officer Ion Martinescu. Snow depths exceeded capability to county snow removal equipment și wind conditions made helicopter evacuation impossible. Community was completely p.o.n. pentru duration the storm. On fourth day the storm, Vasile activated tunnel's emergency protocols pentru primul time pentru large-scale emergency situation. System care had been tested in minor emergencies, was now facing ultimate challenge, keeping entire community alive in life-threatening conditions. Central Underground Chamber became command center pentru coordinating community survival efforts. Tunnel network allowed safe movement entre essential locations even when surface travel was impossible. Și emergency supplies stored in underground chambers provided critical resources pentru people care had exhausted home stockurile. Tunnel suddenly transformed din interesting project in life-saving infrastructure, observes Maria Ionescu. People care had been skeptical. Pentru years, were now grateful că Vasile had persisted cu project despite community criticism. Most dramatic rescue occurred pe 6th day, când elderly couple, Mr. și Mrs. Georgi Moldovan, were found unconscious in their home prin hypothermia. Surface rescue would have been impossible due la snow depth și wind conditions, dar tunnel allowed rescue teams to reach house și să transport couple safely către heated medical treatment area in central chamber. Without tunnel access, reports Dr. Ionescu, Mr. și Mrs. Moldovan would certainly have died. Their home had lost heat completely, și they didn't have strength to maintain fire for heating. Underground transport was only viable method pentru getting them to safety and medical care. Tunnel network facilitated multiple other life-saving operations during 2-week crisis. Emergency medical treatments were provided in underground medical station. Food și fuel reserves were distributed through tunnel system către households care had exhausted supplies. Și coordination intra-community groups was maintained through tunnel's communication network. Every day brought new emergencies care were resolved using tunnel infrastructure, notes Vasile. System provided capabilities care simply wouldn't have existed otherwise. She made difference entre community survival și potential tragedy. Central Chamber housed up la 30 people simultaneously during worst periods the storm, providing warm shelter pentru families whose homes couldn't be adequately heated. Underground space maintained comfortable temperatures. She provided essential services, cooking facilities, medical care. She secure communication cu outside authorities. Living underground, pentru several days was strange experience, admits resident Ana Popescu, but was grateful to have warm, safe place când our house became too cold pentru children. Tunnels saved our lives când no other options existed. Professional emergency response teams, who eventually reached community after storm subsided, were amazed by effectiveness de tunnel system in managing crisis. County Emergency Management Coordinator Elena Stanciu declared că this represents most successful citizen-led emergency response că we've documented in mountainous regions. Media coverage de storm și community's survival highlighted tunnel's critical role in preventing multiple deaths și maintaining community cohesion durante extreme crisis. National television networks featured community ca prime example de effective emergency preparedness, că enabled rural residents to survive conditions care would have been fatal without adequate infrastructure. Storm vindicated everything că Vasile had predicted și prepared pentru, observes Father Dumitru Moldovan. People care had called him village fool, now recognized că his vision had been prophetic și că his persistence had saved lives. By end the 2-week storm, tunnel system had been used pentru over 200 individual emergency operations, medical evacuations, resource distribution, emergency heating, communication queue outside authorities, și temporary housing pentru displaced families. Without underground infrastructure, community would certainly have suffered multiple casualties și possibly complete abandonment. Crisis demonstrated că tunnel wasn't just interesting engineering project, but rather essential survival infrastructure pentru rural community in mountainous region, concludes Vasile. 3 years de work și criticism were justified in 2 weeks de life-saving service către neighbors și friends. Recovery operations după storm continued to use tunnel extensively pentru coordinating reconstruction efforts și pentru maintaining community services until normal infrastructure could be restored. Underground network remained primary transportation method pentru nearly 1 month până când surface roads were fully cleared și utility services restored. Paragraful 8. Transformarea completă a percepțiilor. Actea 1. Șere cuvinte. În zilele și săptămânile care au urmat furtunii apocaliptice, atitudinea comunității față de Vasile și tunelul său s-a transformat complet și într-un mod care depășea orice expectativă. Bărbatul care fusese considerat nebunul satului pentru 3 ani de zile devenise brusc cel mai respectat și apreciat membru al comunității, iar proiectul său inutile era acum considerat cea mai valoroasă infrastructură din istoria localității. Prima manifestare dramatică a acestei transformări a fost când întreaga comunitate s-a organizat spontan pentru a organiza o ceremonie de mulțumire în biserica locală. Părintele Dumitru Moldovan a dedicat slujba specială lui Vasile și viziunii sale, declarând că Dumnezeu l-a inspirat să vadă în viitor și să ne pregătească calea spre salvare. Când am intrat în biserica plină și am văzut că toți vecinii care mă criticaseră se ridica să mă aplaud, povestește Vasile cu emoția vizibilă. Am realizat că nu era vorba doar despre recunoașterea proiectului meu, ci about recognizing că sometimes visionary thinking trebuie să fie protected și encouraged, chiar și când pare neconvențional. Local mayor Ion Călin, care fusese printre cei mai vocal critics ai proiectului, a organizat o adunare publică pentru a formally recognize Vasile ca citizen of honor al satului și pentru a officially declare tunnel network ca essential community infrastructure care urma să be permanently maintained din fonduri publice. Am been wrong about Vasile și about proiectul său, a declarat Major Călin într-un speech emoționant. Ca leaders al community, responsibility noastră este să recognize visionary thinking și să support innovators, nu să-i dismiss ca eccentrics. Vasile a salvat lives prin persistence și dedication sa. Transformarea cea mai dramatică în attitudes a fost evidentă în behavior toward Vasile pe street și în social interactions. The residents care evitaseră conversation pentru years now sought out opportunities to express gratitude și să request advice about their own emergency preparedness measures. Vasile devenise unofficial consultant pentru community safety și emergency planning. Suddenly everyone wanted to know how to prepare pentru future emergencies, observes Vasile. People car before dismissed prepping ca paranoid behavior, now realized importance to being ready pentru unexpected situations. Crisis had taught community că individual responsibility pentru emergency preparedness nu era optional luxury, dar essential survival strategy. Children in community care before made jokes about tunnel man, now treated Vasile cu respect și curiosity, frequently asking pentru tours the underground system și explanations about how engineering problems erau solved. Tunnel devenise educational resource care inspired young people to consider technical careers și innovative problem solving. Children's attitudes changed completely, notes elementary teacher Maria Georgescu. Vasile became role model pentru persistence și creative thinking. Students began to see engineering și practical problem solving come exciting career paths rather than boring technical work. Business community also recognized economic potential the tunnel system și began to explore opportunities pentru turism dezvoltare și commercial applications. Tunnel network had potential to become source de revenue pentru community prin educational tours, emergency preparedness training programs și technical consulting services. Local restaurant owner Gheorghe Dascalu began to offer tunnel tours, in combination with traditional meals, attracting visitors from other communities care were interested in seeing famous underground system. Tunnel brought more visitors in 2 months than community had seen in previous decade, he reports. Technical experts și government officials continued to visit pentru study system și să evaluate potențial pentru replication in other communities. These visits brought economic benefits și enhanced community's reputation ca innovative rural development model. Professor Ing. Traian Popescu din Cluj Technical University expanded academic relationship cu project prin establishing permanent research station pentru studying long-term performance the underground infrastructure in mountainous conditions. Community has become outdoor laboratory pentru civil engineering research, care provides valuable data pentru improving similar projects, he explains. Media attention intensified după storm, cu international news organizations featuring community ca remarkable example de citizen-led emergency preparedness, care saved lives prin innovative infrastructure development. Television documentaries, newspaper articles și online features brought global recognition pentru small Romanian village. International attention was overwhelming but gratifying, admits Vasile. Demonstrated that Romanian rural communities could achieve world-class innovations through individual initiative și practical engineering solutions. Regional government began to incorporate lessons learned in crisis recovery and official emergency preparedness policies pentru mountain communities throughout Romania. Tunnel system became model pentru rural emergency infrastructure development that could be supported prin government programs. Most significant policy change was establishment the Rural Emergency Infrastructure Fund, care provided financial support pentru communities interested in developing similar underground emergency systems. Program recognized that individual initiatives like Vasile's tunnel could serve as foundation pentru broader community safety improvements. Government recognition through dedicated funding program validated approach that had proven successful in our community, observes Mayor Kalin, showed that individual innovation could influence policy development și inspire government support pentru similar projects. Personal impact upon Vasile was equally dramatic. Mancare had been socially isolated pentru years now, found himself in centered the respectful community attention și sought after expert in emergency preparedness și rural engineering solutions. Personal transformation was as remarkable ECA community's attitude change, reflects Dr. Radu Ionescu. Vasile had vindication pentru years de criticism și proof that his vision had practical value, care extended beyond individual satisfaction to project completion. Family relationships also improved significantly, when Vasile's children și relatives understood that father's obsessive project had actually been life-saving community service that reflected remarkable foresight și engineering capability. Previous embarrassment changed lay pride, and relative care had achieved national recognition pentru innovative community development. Sons și daughters care had been embarrassed by father's tunnel project, now brought their own children to see famous underground system și să learn despre grandfather's achievement, notes Maria Ionescu. Family reunification was one of the most emotionally rewarding aspects to project's success. By primăvara 2023, Community Care had once been embarrassed by eccentric residents' strange project, was now proud to showcase nationally recognized emergency infrastructure that had saved lives. Și served ca model pentru other rural communities throughout Romania și beyond. Complete transformation de community attitudes demonstrated că perseverance in față de criticism could eventually lead to recognition și validation, când practical results proved visionary thinking had been correct, concludes Vasile. Most important lesson was that communities could learn to value innovative thinking și să support unconventional approaches care might prove essential pentru future challenges. Paragraful 9. Expandarea națională și internațională. 100 cuvinte. În vara anului 2023, succesul dramatic al tunelului din timpul furtunii apocaliptice a atras atențiuni din partea autorităților naționale și internaționale într-un mod care a transformat proiectul local într-un program de dezvoltare rurală de amploare națională. Guvernul României a lansat oficial Programul Național de Infrastructură Subterană pentru Urgențe Rurale, cu tunelul lui Vasile ca model pilot pentru expansion pe întreg teritoriul țării. Ministrul Dezvoltării Rurale, doamna Elena Cristea, a vizitat personal comunitatea pentru a studia sistemul și pentru a anunța allocation de 50 de milioane de euro pentru dezvoltarea de sisteme similare în toate regiunile montane ale României. Acest proiect demonstrează că inovația locală poate deveni foundation pentru politici naționale care salvează vieți, a declarat ea într-o conferință de presă organizată chiar în Central Chamber al tunelului. Prima expansiune majoră a venit când Guvernementul Județean Cluj a contractat pe Vasile ca chief consultant pentru dezvoltarea unei rețele county-wide de tuneluri emergency care să connect 15 village din Munții Apuseni. Project, numit Rețeaua Vasile Mureșan, reprezents primul attempt de replication sistematică la scală largă a innovationului său original. Working Q government teams pentru expanding concept către other communities was completely different experience than building original tunnel, observes Vasile. Suddenly aveam budgeturi mari, specialized equipment și teams de professional engineers, dar challenge-ul era să maintain innovative spirit și practical efficiency că made original project successful. Technical standardization became major consideration când adapting tunnel concept pentru multiple locations cu different geological conditions și community needs. Engineering teams developed modular construction systems care could be customized pentru specific local conditions while maintaining essential safety și functionality standards. Professoring Traian Popescu, been appointed ca academic director pentru National Program. She established research protocols pentru optimizing tunnel construction techniques pentru different types de terrain și climatic conditions. Challenge was to balance standardization pentru efficiency cu customization pentru local conditions. He explains. International attention came din European Union's Civil Protection Mechanism, care designated Romania's tunnel program ca pilot project pentru EU-wide Rural Emergency Infrastructure Development. Funding de 200 million was allocated pentru expanding concept către mountain regions în Austria, Slovakia, Poland și Czech Republic. European recognition brought prestige, dar also pressure to demonstrate that Romanian innovation could be successfully replicated in other countries with different regulations, safety standards, și construction practices. Notes Vasile. UNESCO became interested in tunnel project ca example de traditional knowledge combining cu modern engineering pentru sustainable rural development. Organization included project in its best practices in rural resilience documentation și featured Vasile ca keynote speaker la International Conference in Paris. Speaking at UNESCO conference in Paris was probably greatest honor de my life, reflects Vasile. Representing Romania la International Forum și sharing knowledge that could help rural communities worldwide was incredibly fulfilling experience. Training programs been established at multiple Romanian universities pentru educating next generation de tunnel engineers specialized in underground emergency infrastructure development. Curriculum developed by profession Popescu combined traditional mining techniques cu modern engineering și emergency management principles. Students din engineering programs across Europe begun să visit original tunnel site pentru hands-on training in construction techniques și practical problem-solving approaches. These international student exchanges brought valuable cross-cultural learning și enhanced technical development de program. Educational component ensured că knowledge wouldn't be limited, că individual innovation, but could become professional specialty, că would continue to evolve și improve, observes Professor Popescu. Commercial applications also developed când private companies began to offer tunnel construction services pentru communities care couldn't undertake projects independently. Several engineering firms specialized in Mureșan method tunnel construction, creating new business sector și employment opportunities. Innovation awards came din multiple international organizations, recognizing tunnel concept ca breakthrough in rural emergency preparedness. European Innovation Prize, UN Habitat Award pentru Rural Development și International Engineering Excellence Recognition, tot acknowledged projects' significance pentru global rural development. Awards brought recognition, dar also responsibility to ensure că expansion programs maintained quality și effectiveness, că made original projects successful, reflects Vasile. Research și development activities expanded când academic institutions began to study long-term performance de tunnel systems și să develop improvements in construction materials, ventilation technology și emergency communication systems. Original tunnel served ca testing ground pentru technologies care could enhance future installations. Policy influence extended beyond emergency preparedness când European Rural Development Agencies began to incorporate tunnel concepts in broader infrastructure development programs. Underground transportation networks been proposed pentru regions care faced seasonal isolation due la weather conditions. Policy impact meant că idea transcended specific emergency applications și became part the strategic thinking about rural connectivity și resilience, notes Ministry of Rural Development Representative Maria Stanciu. International consulting opportunities arose când governments in mountainous regions din Asia și South America requested technical assistance pentru developing similar emergency infrastructure systems. Vasile been invited to provide consulting pentru projects in Nepal, Peru și Afghanistan. International consulting was opportunity to learn about emergency preparedness challenges in completely different cultural și geographic contexts, observes Vasile. Each project required adapting core concepts către local conditions și community needs. Technology transfer agreements being developed to countries interested in implementing tunnel programs, creating intellectual property revenues, care could support continued research și development activities in Romania. Documentary productions by international media organizations brought global awareness despre innovative Romanian approach către rural emergency preparedness și established country as leader in citizen-initiated infrastructure development. By sfârșitul 2023, a concept care had begun, CA individual project in small Romanian village had evolved an international movement către community-based emergency preparedness. Care was being studied, replicated, și adapted in rural communities worldwide. Seeing tunnel concept spread la communities in different countries was remarkable validation că local innovation could have global impact, reflects Vasile. Proved că practical solutions developed in response către local needs could address similar challenges everywhere, că rural communities face seasonal isolation și emergency access problems. Success the international expansion programs provided foundation pentru next phase de development focused pe integrating tunnel networks cu advanced technology systems. Care could further enhance emergency response capabilities și community resilience. Paragraful 10. Moștenirea și lecțiile pentru viitor. 1.00 cuvinte. La 5 ani de la începerea proiectului, în primăvara anului 2025, Vasile Mureșan se afla pe dealul de deasupra satului Beliș, privind către rețeaua de intrări și ieșiri ale tunelului care acum se întindea pe aproape 5 kilometri și conecta nu doar casa sa cu centrul satului, ci și cu 3 comunități învecinate. Ceea ce începuse ca o obsesie neînțeleasă, devenise acum o rețea națională de infrastructură subterană care salvase sute de vieți și transformase complet abordarea României față de preparedness pentru emergențe rurale. Când mă uit în urmă la cei 3 ani de criticism și isolation, reflectează Vasile, înțeleg acum că oppositionul nu era personal răutate, ci pur și simplu inability să înțeleagă vision care went beyond immediate experience. Most people can only appreciate innovation după ce practical benefits become obvious și undeniable. Original tunnel din Beliș had become training center și research facility pentru Vasile Mureșan Institute for Rural Emergency Infrastructure, ca un nou institutional establishment care prepared engineers și community leaders din întreaga lume în dezvoltarea de sisteme underground emergency. Annual enrollment exceeded 500 students din over 40 de țări. Educational mission became most rewarding aspect the project's evolution, observes Vasile. Seeing young engineers learn to think creatively about rural emergency challenges și să develop solutions that could serve their own communities was incredibly fulfilling. Economic impact asupra community had been transformational. Village care fusese economic struggling now thrived ca center de innovation tourism, educational services și technical consulting. Local unemployment disappeared, ca residents found work in tunnel construction, maintenance, education și support services pentru international visitors. Economic revitalization was unexpected benefit, notes Mayor Ion Kellen. Community care had been losing population due to limited economic opportunities now attracts residents' care, want to live in birthplace de internationally recognized innovation. Environmental studies demonstrated that tunnel networks also provided significant ecological benefits. Underground transportation reduced surface traffic behem winter months, preserved wilderness areas din development pressure. She created habitat corridors care supported local wildlife populations. Dr. Elena Georgescu din Environmental Protection Agency reported that tunnel concept represents model pentru sustainable rural development care minimizes environmental impact while providing essential infrastructure services. Health benefits of tunnel systems extended beyond emergency medical access către general improvement and community wellness. Regular physical activity required pentru tunnel maintenance și use contributed către better fitness levels among residents, while sense to security provided by emergency preparedness reduced stress-related health problems. Public health impact was another positive outcome that wasn't anticipated in original planning, observes Dr. Radu Ionescu. Communities had reliable emergency infrastructure experienced less anxiety about isolation și better overall health outcomes. Cultural significance the project evolved când tunnel system became symbol pentru Romanian ingenuity și rural resilience. Traditional folk songs being composed about săpătorul de tuneluri și local festivals celebrate annual anniversary the original tunnel completion. Cultural integration showed that project had become part the community identity rather than just practical infrastructure, notes Father Dumitru Moldovan. International recognition continued când United Nations designated tunnel concept ca best practice in disaster risk reduction și included methodology in official guidelines pentru rural emergency preparedness in mountainous regions worldwide. UN recognition meant that approach developed in small Romanian village had become part the international standards pentru rural emergency preparedness, observes Vasile with evident pride. Legacy planning become important consideration, C.A. Vasile, now 63 years old, begun to transfer technical knowledge și project management responsibilities către younger engineers care would continue to expand și maintain tunnel networks in future generations. Succession planning is essential pentru ensuring that innovation doesn't die co-original innovator, he reflects. Next generation must understand not just technical aspects, but also persistence și vision care are required pentru completing projects că face initial skepticism. Research applications continued to evolve că tunnel systems provided testing environments pentru new technologies in underground construction, emergency communication, și automated systems care could enhance future installations. Research platform created by original tunnel network continues to generate new innovations care improve emergency preparedness capabilities, reports Professor Iuizumistienjurin Traian Popescu. Policy influence extended, alleviate national legislation requiring all rural communities and mountainous regions to develop comprehensive emergency access plans care often included tunnel or other underground infrastructure components. Legislative impact meant that Vasili's innovation became standard requirement rather than optional enhancement pentru rural emergency preparedness. Stricte notes Ministry Representative Maria Stanciu. Most profound personal impact pentru Vasile was transformation din isolated individual-focused pe personal survival intra-community leader whose vision had saved lives she inspired global movement towards rural resilience. Personal journey din being dismissed, see a village eccentric către being recognized ca visionary leader, taught me that true innovation requires courage to pursue ideas that others don't understand. He reflects. Letters continue to arrive in around the world in individuals' care had been inspired by tunnel stories to undertake their own community improvement projects. These communications confirm that projects' inspirational value extends far beyond technical achievements. Knowing that story inspired others to take responsibility pentru their community's safety și să persist în față de criticism is most meaningful legacy, observes Vasile. Educational curriculum developed around tunnel project now includes not just engineering și construction techniques, but also lessons in community leadership, handling criticism, și maintaining vision prin difficult periods, când support is lacking. Educational value extends beyond technical training, către personal development și leadership skills, care are essential pentru community innovation. Notes Educational Director Professor Ana Popescu. Looking către future, Vasile envisions continued expansion to tunnel networks către serve not just emergency purposes, but also sustainable transportation, underground agriculture, și climate-controlled storage facilities that could enhance rural community sustainability in face de increasing climate challenges. Original tunnel was response către immediate emergency needs, dar future applications could address broader challenges de climate change, economic development și community sustainability, he projects. Final reflection pentru Vasile focuses pe essential lesson că individual initiative, combined cu persistence și practical vision, can overcome social resistance și create lasting positive change that benefits entire communities și inspires broader social innovation. Most important message pentru future generations is că, quando you believe in value de your vision și are willing să persist prin criticism și doubt, you can achieve results that benefit not just yourself, but many others care will be grateful pentru your perseverance, concludes Vasile. Sometimes being considered crazy today means being recognized, see a visionary tomorrow.